what's his name from Detroit was arguing about food.
Yeah. And the Food be 2 season.
Nah, that's Fat Boy from Philly. He was like the 2 season.
Oh yeah.
But he was arguing with another nigga. Was like, nigga, what you don't know nothing about what they said. You don't know nothing about the strawberry biscuits from McDonald's. Nigga taking the strawberry biscuits, nigga making your own spread. Nigga, you don't know nothing about that. They was going back and forth. Nigga was like, man, you don't know nothing about taking the chili cheese fries and nigga making your own Cheetos, nigga, with the Fritos and the cheese in it, nigga. You ain't never did that.
And these men are scientists in the kitchen.
Back and forth. That nigga hit T Grizzly with the nigga. You ain't never had the strawberry biscuits from McDonald's. Nigga, T was like, hold up, what? He was like, strawberry biscuits from McDonald's. He's like, nigga, they got them. Now, mind you, these niggas been going back and forth for 5 minutes.
Now he mad because ain't nobody tell him.
He's like, nigga, they got
strawberry biscuits. Nobody tell me.
He's like, hold up, nah, fuck all that, nigga. What you talking about? That shit was crazy.
You know, yeah, you got to be a different type of person to argue about different food and not even know that certain places got certain food that came out.
Yeah, that's like a nigga saying, nigga, you ain't never took the cup of noodles and dumped off the dry vegetables, nigga, and put your own meat and all the vegetables, fresh vegetables in there and heated it up, nigga. You ain't never did that.
A lot of people have it. That's a different gourmet. Anyways, man, yo, you tuned into the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dizzy D Spill, with my co-host in the building.
The one, the only, ladies and gentlemen.
Take 2.
I try my best every time to at least stall that out.
Hey, man. It's part of the signature at this point, man. Just like the fit. The fit is part of the signature. The fit, you already know, man. We gonna be dipped. We gonna be dipped this wintertime. You know what I'm saying? It's the color coordination, the creams, the blacks, the greens. The earths.
Yeah.
Fall colors. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit of This is how I keep the gangster shit with me with the paisley.
Yeah, you gotta do it, man.
Yeah.
Gang bang from the garden.
From the garden, yeah.
Yeah. So 45 is back as 47. 45, 47.
45, 47 is
so
back.
What you think about that, man?
What do I think about it? It is going to be an interesting new season of America.
Okay.
We are this is the season finale.
Okay.
And it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Like this season finale got a couple like scenes to go.
Yeah.
And it'll be over. And then I'm looking forward to see what's going on the next year. I swear since 2020, the beginning of the new year, it's always something crazy happening.
Right.
Something significant. So I'm just sitting here watching and observing. I did not expect anything other than him being voted in. Okay. He won by a landslide.
Okay.
He had a few years head start over Kamala. She didn't resonate with the people enough. There was too many questions about her that they was able to put up. She created her own doubt as well. Yeah. She didn't have as much time. Did a great job for as much time as she had.
I mean, that's a good perspective on thinking, like, going back and reflecting and saying, where did she go wrong? I could see a couple things that I think we could have lived without to give her better chances of winning the presidency.
Yeah, like her telling us she washed her greens in the bathtub.
Yeah. Well, black people don't like to be sold anything.
Yeah, we could tell she was selling.
Yeah, but just in general as a culture, black Americans, we don't like to be, if we feel like you trying to sell us something, we're going to try to find everything that's wrong with it.
Yeah, because when I go in the store and the nigga keep asking, can you help me? We don't like to be helped.
Yeah, until it's time for us to go ask you for help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, give us our independence, man.
Yeah.
Give us our 40 ounces in pit bull.
Feel like
you know what I'm saying?
40 ounces in pit bull.
That's what Mike F said.
Then, you know how nigga didn't know he signed? He thought he was signing for the 40 acres in the mule.
Nah, 40 ounces of the pit bull.
He read that shit like he read it too fast. It was like, fuck, they got us again.
They got us, Leroy.
God damn.
And this time they got the car.
And then you hear beep, 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 and they pulling up with 40
ounces and some pit bulls, man.
And a couple of pit bulls. Now, what you want? You want the blue nose? I got the little one right now. And she about to have the babies in a couple of days.
Yeah, man. She was trying to. I think she went too hard with trying to sell things to black folks, but then. Trying to reach the younger crowd through like the Meg Thee Stallion performances, the Glorrillas.
Didn't work.
Trump
did the damn thing, man.
Well, the reason why I'm saying where she went wrong is because it's not like Trump didn't do the same thing. Trump had like Lil Pump, certain rappers and from certain regions there and, co-signing and endorsing, right? but they wasn't throwing whole concerts. I mean, he did approach 50 to perform.
He came out playing Many Men.
Right. And I think that was around the time where he wanted 50 to come out and perform it. And 50 was a smart man. He said, I don't get involved with politics. Because especially in this climate, it's a slippery slope getting into these conversations. People don't talk to family no more over who they voted for. People aren't friends anymore. It's kind of wild.
That's not his demographic. So the fact that regardless of whether we think of it as being like, what the hell, he went and got people from the opposite side that, for all intents and purposes, hip-hop is not considered to be a Republican.
Hip-hop is not conservative.
It's not.
There's conservative parts of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, but hip-hop is not considered any parts of conservative at all.
So the fact that somebody on his team had the wherewithal to know not only to bring hip-hop artists to, I mean, he got Trick in Detroit, to bring hip-hop artists out for the side that is not typically considered hip-hop. Is like he's touching more of not only his demographic, but also the other side, right? But he played Many Men coming out like after he got shot. So for somebody to be like, hey, play this song while you come out, regardless of whether we get 50 or not, that's pretty slick. So yeah, Trump just had a better campaign. He had more time. He had more connection to his voters. So yeah, she was playing a lose-lose game anyway. She was never set to win. She had like a couple months after Biden wasn't willing to give up. And so, yeah, she wasn't going to win anyway. I mean, I think a lot of black women are bothered by the fact that she didn't win because the idea of a black woman being in the president, they felt connected to that. But I don't think they was connected to Kamala at all.
Well, the thing that I understand about the black culture, and we're going to talk more about it later in the episode, is in our community, we have a very bad habit of, how can I put this, making things specifically, I don't want to say racial, because whether people want to agree or not, almost everything is racial.
Mm-hmm. Especially to us.
And I even think to other cultures. It's just a mixture of racial and tribal. And it just so happens that your tribe is part of your race. You see what I'm saying? And the thing about it is we definitely have to get out of the mindset of doing certain things because somebody is black. Now, I understand in certain instances where you're picking the lesser of two evils and that lesser happens to be black. But even in that instance, you still could be playing a dangerous game because they may not be for what you are for. But this whole concept of like with Obama, it could have been a lot of stuff racially driven, but black people did not, like, they didn't get him in office. More of us just helped out getting him in office.
Yeah, a lot of
us voted who normally don't vote or who's never voted. That did black people played a significant role, but that's not what pushed Obama over the finish line.
Yeah, it took for us to, we all had to vote for Obama, but also that us all voting for Obama didn't get him into the seat.
Right.
Like, in order for him to have one, yes, we all had to like push for that, or vote on that side. But it's different. It's at the end of the day, bro. Like I said, it's an illusion of inclusion because they give us the voters. We don't get to pick from the group of people that run for the Democratic or Republican Party. We get to choose the people that are there. So for most people, they have voted for one side or the other most of their lives. Most people who are Democrats have voted Democrat or Republican, and unless you had some sort of life experience or financial circumstance,
and vice versa, some people probably voted Democrat their whole life and they started to vote Republican. But I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people that start voting against the house that they were raised in has a lot to do with like going to college.
Yeah, it's
once you go to college, or once you go get all these different perspectives from professors and from your peers. it helps you see better as far as in what you want to do. And a lot of people start deviating. Well, that's my mom's ideologies. That's my dad's perspectives and views. This is what I believe in. This is what I think is fair. And then they end up switching.
Well, I mean,
shout out to the Green Party people too, man.
For all intents and purposes, most people stay loyal to their tribe until something happens. When it comes to a sports team,
yeah,
you could be loyal to your team, and they could be trash all the time, and you're gonna stay loyal to your team. When we were in school and we voted for class president, we didn't vote for class. I mean, a lot of it would be like, oh, they said they gonna make sure we get the good lunches and shit. Like, they gonna make sure we get extra time for recess. You might vote for
more vending machines. More pep rallies.
More ice cream parties and shit. Yeah. But typically we vote based on liking the person, not their policies.
I mean,
we're not really.
This is true.
We're not totally aware of that part of the process and are not as informed in order to make those types of decisions. We usually have too much going on in life to even be sitting there thinking about what this individual's policies are. If we base who we're going to vote on, whether we like this person and we believe who they are.
Right.
And so we rarely switch over from Democrat to Republican. It's like, all right, say they had 20 people running for to be the Democratic candidate.
Mm-hmm.
If we got to choose between those 20, then it would be a little different.
Yeah, I think it would have been different. I think there was a lot of people. I think there is a truth to that. I also wanted to speak to something you said earlier that, people will also vote for somebody based off how much they don't like the other person running too.
That happens as well.
You know what I'm saying? And I think some of that happened with this election. I think some people just wasn't not only sold on Kamala, but some people felt, I don't really like her. I mean, there were some things that were false about her as well.
Yeah.
But that, if you're likable to me or not, that's really, I think, what it boils down to most people. And the reason why I say most people is because I don't believe that most people that are voting are really paying attention to policies, really paying attention to track record, really paying attention to the odds of them actually going through with certain bills that are actually passed. I don't really believe that, because when you hear people talk, they speak on like rumors. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like when people were speaking on Trump and Project 2025, he said numbers of times that he's not affiliated, which could be 100% true. But the people also heard him echo things that were similar to what they want in Project 2025. So if somebody were to be like, see, I don't want to vote for him because of that, I would understand. Just like when somebody brought up Kamala and, I don't like the way she interviews. Some people said I don't like her interviews because she talks about sunshines, rainbows, and happiness and doesn't answer the question. So it's like, I don't like this person. They seem dishonest because they're not answering the question.
And that's what I could say is one of the reasons why I feel like she lost, is because whether or not we agree with what Trump's rhetoric is, his policies or not, we believe that what he's saying, he's being truthful to him, to what he's saying. Like whether he's telling the truth or not, he believes this shit. Or we feel like we know what we're going to get with him. With her, it's like, you keep smiling and cheesing and laughing and talking about joy and you ain't said a damn thing at all. And we just don't believe you. So we feel like you're being disingenuous, you're being condescending, you're not being truthful. So if we say we agree, you say this is what your policy is, you probably just don't really believe that. With Trump, yeah, we at least think he gonna try to push the issue on what he said. He said he want to get them. He going after y'all niggas for fucking with the votes. He went after y'all. He tried to make it, whether or not he was right or wrong, we know what we're gonna get with him. So, she did a lot, man. She was on the phone acting like she was talking to a voter. Had her camera on, acting like she was talking to a voter. Showed her. And the camera is on, and she's talking about how she celebrated Kwanzaa every year when she was a kid. And it's like,
out of pocket.
Don't nobody. You know somebody who celebrated Kwanzaa?
Personally, not. I don't. Not personally. I know it happens.
Name one nigga who celebrated Kwanzaa instead of except being at school and that little thing you made when you was at school in February or something. They made. Whenever Kwanzaa is, you made the little Kwanzaa candle thing, man. Like, she said every year they did it.
Nah, I didn't. I grew up. Let me see. 80% of my life, I grew up with majority black folks. All right, that 20%, I spent enough time to understand other cultures, right? And I don't know any homies, anybody in the family. Not to say that it doesn't happen.
Right, we ain't saying
but
that.
Not in my life.
Not over Christmas.
Not over. Now, when I got Kwanzaa books and understanding and stuff in the games and the toys, I did get that stuff as a child, which was actually dope. Yes. But who knows? Maybe she, you know what? Maybe she sparked a different thing that we should be paying attention to. Maybe we should be practicing certain things in our community that we don't practice. And maybe we gotta give her some credit for it, because it's like, man, look, like you don't, we don't either.
Practicing what you preach.
Yeah,
yeah.
But also, maybe we should practice some of the things that she think is being done in the community that's not being done.
I don't know, man. She just didn't do as good of a job. She's not. I feel like you got to connect to the people. And
I feel like it was a layup. I feel like it was a little bit of layup.
For Trump?
Like, no. I feel like it was a layup for her. And how many times have we seen people miss wide open layups?
I don't think it was a layup for her because she didn't have enough time to gain as much momentum. Trump been doing this for he's been on the campaign before the campaign trail started. But I think
also what started to happen is when people started to see Biden not really being himself and not really sounding all the way there, I think that started to make people migrate over to like, let's go over here.
I mean, there's that part too.
Then she comes in, and I'm gonna say something that is very controversial. I don't care whose feelings it hurts, but it's the truth. A lot of things were thrown around during this campaign regarding misogyny. And I think that a lot of the men that ended up voting for Trump, one of their many things was it's hard for them to accept a woman leading them. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of having freedom of choice. You get to decide if you want somebody, you know, a man or a woman leading you, this person or that. That's why you vote. You vote on these things.
How many women voted? What was the percentage of women that voted for her in comparison to Trump too? So we got to look at, like, it's like when we talk about the WNBA and the support for the WNBA.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of NBA players support the WNBA.
A lot of women don't want a woman president.
Exactly. So that's the harsh truth of it. And guess what? No matter, that's not misogyny though.
No.
That's what I wanted to point out. If I'm sexist, maybe, but it depends on how you spin it, because men have a hard time letting other men lead them.
Is it misogyny when she's the head DEA?
Well, for who?
So what is it misogyny when she's reached a position of power within the judicial system?
I wouldn't say that.
So then why is it misogyny when she's not?
Well, because you have these people that find words, right, that weren't being used in the past. And it's like, you know what?
She was the DEA.
You know what? I'm going to come at this situation a little.
Not the DEA. I'm sorry, the DA.
I just wanted the demure president to win.
Demure. I'm tired of that word.
Well, that's the point that I'm making. People find these words and they don't look up the true meaning and definition behind it. Demure. But I don't think that just because somebody voted this way, it's just like when you have women that run around and say all men cheat, right? We're not running around saying you're a misandrist because you think all men cheat. Misandrist. You see, you know what I'm saying?
That word too. There's a lot of these new words.
You know, well, they've always been here. It's just they're new to people that, you know what, I'm going to read today. I hate when a nigga
say a new word. Yeah, nigga, that word been around. Yeah, you right.
Man, I ain't going to lie. If it's a word that I like, I'm gonna run it into the ground. But it's usually not it's usually not the trendy word that everybody's using.
But saying it's a new word is like, nigga, that's like when they say I found a new fruit. It's like, nah, the fruit been here though.
Yeah, it's been here. You just bypassed it. You just want to eat something else. I can't do nothing for you.
Yeah. Nah, she she's not a Michelle Obama. She doesn't have that connection to the people. She got to be liked.
There's a lot of things, and one of the things that no matter how much you like it or not, you know, and by the way, we don't represent either side. We're looking at this from almost like a sports analyst aspect of it, right? And one of the things that people got to understand about Donald Trump is when he first ran, some people literally wanted to vote for him and respected him because he said things that you're not used to politicians saying.
Yeah, because people are tired of
that's to a lot of people that's considered real, and I say with air quotes because everybody has their own definition of real. But to certain people, that's real. You know what I mean? Not being politically correct is kind of the new trend right now, and it's been that trend ever since social media has a big impact on people's opinions and perspectives and drawing in conversations. You know what I mean? But before we wrap up the topic, I thought it was interesting that when it first came out that he won the presidency, how many black men were blamed until those stats came out. Remember that? All of the posts and black men, this is you, this is your hate. And then them stats came out and there was a wide number, a crazy number of black men that actually voted for Kamala.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a deeper conversation.
Well, I mean, but you know what? We can have it because
it's always us to blame. We're the reason why this and that. Like, it's crazy.
Well, it ties into like, is this part of the problem and why black folks can't be united? Now, I don't want to just make it about politics, but as divided as black folks can be throughout the year, when big conversations like politics happen, it's such a divisive conversation within the culture because of sides. And it's like, we have a hard time with Bloods and Crips. Yeah. And y'all really finna argue over Democrats and Republicans? I don't know, man.
And there's, like I said, they felt like the idea of a black woman as president, but y'all did not like Kamala or fuck with her. Like, she was nowhere to be found for 4 years.
I've heard a lot of people in the community say that.
She was nowhere to be found, and then she's coming out and trying to do this fake connection to us. That's why it's like we felt like, and if you want to be honest, a lot of black men felt like she wasn't talking to us at all. She didn't connect to us. She didn't say anything that was.
Can I say why this is a circus, man?
In support of us.
Can I explain why this was a circus, and then we can kind of dive into like our issue, our in-house issue. The reason why this whole scenario was a circus is because you had Kamala as the vice president, where a lot of people felt like she hasn't been around for the past 4 years. But then you look at Donald Trump in his scenario, and he kind of had a little bit of beef with a lot of Republicans. So he had to pivot a little bit and pick and choose who was going to be on his side. So he chooses J.D. Vance, who talked about him like a dog prior to selecting him, when they were on opposing sides. So my thing is, whether it's Democrat, whether it's Republican, this is why I say, same bird, just different wings, right? Because they both have the same blemishes and the same makeup. It's just who sounds like they're gonna do a little bit more for me than the other one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's why I feel bad for the Green Party and these independent parties, because they didn't get no electoral college votes.
Your man Robert Kennedy Jr., he turned coat fast, because I liked what he was saying.
I did too. And I liked some of the things he said.
We turned around and he endorsed him, cuz.
Yeah.
So you never know, man. It's a WWF type soap opera again.
Right now, the NWO is in office. Look, I think that when it comes to Black Americans and us uniting, do you think that'll ever happen? Do you think we know we have the capability, we know we have the history and understanding, but do you think we'll ever get to a point where we'll be more united like a lot of other ethnicities and groups in this country? It's not to say that we never see it, just on a reputation level. Because when you look at the reputation of other communities in this country, they have violence, they disagree, they beef, they do all of those things, but like in a collective group, you can still tell that they are for the tribe, regardless of what little pockets, subdivisions, and everything else you got going on in that community.
As you asked that question, I started thinking, and I'm like, what is it that we have to fight for? 1963 or 4 Civil Rights Act of it's 1965, I think. 1964 Civil Rights Act is passed.
Okay.
Right? So let's say it takes a couple of years for it to kind of like become a norm.
All right.
Yeah, there's overt and covert racism and prejudices that individuals and systems can still be in place.
Right.
But what is it that we don't, what rights don't we really have anymore? Because now it's up to interpretation on how you are dealt with when it comes to the judicial system, but there's no real system in place that is overtly saying that we as Black people don't have any rights or anything. So it's difficult for us to come together when what are we being brought together for?
So what you saying, brother, is we are not in the fight anymore, brother?
We don't have, what do we have to fight for?
What do you have to fight for, brother?
We all, it's all.
We can fight right now, brother.
Like the betterment of the good of the group would be, the betterment of our community would be great, but there's no real like, what is it that would bring us together for that? We would have to, it would have to be something in place that we would all be affected.
I don't know if you realize the two powerful things that I feel like you're saying without saying it directly. But the first powerful thing that you're saying is we don't have anything to fight against as a group, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, it almost sounds like you're saying that integration handicapped us.
I'm saying, as a byproduct of integration, I would say that the collective, it ceased to be more about the group and more about the individual and your smaller group, like your family or whatever, not the community,
the tribe.
Yeah,
I would say it's about the tribe and the village. Like, it's not about the country. Well, the country of Black folk.
Yeah,
so
I think
me and you we'd be tribal, right?
Uh-huh.
Within the village of my family, your family, and all of us, living in close proximity and things of that nature, mm-hmm. rather than if, let's just say everything, we made it about the city that we live in and we're including everybody, but we're making sure we're straight.
Well, let's say like there was like the Jim Crow laws or these laws that prevented Black people from going into certain restaurants, using certain water fountains, going to certain schools.
Right.
There was really no exception to the rules for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we all had the same kind of barrier.
Yeah.
Whether you come from the north, south, east, or west, if wherever you went and those laws was in place, then you were subject to it.
Yes, this is true.
Now it's based on an individual. It's not every single person is experiencing prejudices, racism, and are not able to interpret it the same way, even if they are not really knowing. So there's let's say in a small city, all right, that shit is going on over there.
Okay.
But it's not going on across the country enough for the Black folks around the country to come together and say, this is happening to this. All of us have this experience, or all of us will go to this restaurant and this is the way in which they're treating us. It's not really like that.
Well, I think what we got away from as a community is the tools and the resources that we use to celebrate, to even divide against one another, as far as in if you are a Niners fan and I'm a Cowboys fan or something like that, right? We're not using those same tools to make sure that our foundation and that our community and our village and everything is okay. And I'll give you an example. We come together for concerts. Mm-hmm. We come together for cookouts, barbecues. We come together for church, right? We come together for a wrongful delete in life for YouTube purposes. Like I say, delete. So we come together to either celebrate or cry, but we don't come together or even to not. I don't even want to say to protect. We come together to avenge more than protect.
We more reactive than proactive, and what I mean by that is, all right, we'll when it was George Floyd and Mike, what's his name?
George Floyd, Mike Brown, Breonna Taylor,
there we go.
Sandra Bland, the list goes on. Eric Garner.
We'll jump up for those type of things. Where we see everybody coming together for that.
Stephon Clark right here in SAC.
Reactionary. It's not anybody saying, well, that keeps happening. What are we going to do to prevent the next one? We want to react to it. We ain't going to prevent. We're going to react.
Well, I'm a solution-based person. I don't know any other way at this point in my life. I actually have my patience, my tolerance is going out the window when it comes to the type of correcting that I think we need in all areas and all facets of our life. And one thing that this, is the one thing that politics has been teaching me, even though it's not even a political thing all the way, is how far off we are as a community as far as what we're worried about. And I'll give you an example. When we talked on election day, and we had our conversations, we talked, was it election day or the day after? I think it was the day after. The day after. Yeah. And so we talked about the results, but we also talked about what we voted for in our city, locally. Yeah. And that's something that I think a lot of us need to pay attention to. Not even just right here in our city, but just wherever you're at, Black folks need to pay attention to what they're voting for in their community, because we'll be really quick to talk about the president said this and the president did that. But meanwhile, your mayor and your governor, right, and all of these people in these seats in Congress in your community is really what's making your life difficult.
I'm going to even go further to say my experience, I started caring more about those elections definitely when I had a kid.
Oh yeah.
The more I thought about ownership and property,
and
I think a lot of Black people unfortunately don't have very much ownership or property to give a damn about any of those other types of elections and knowing how that can affect it. So now, being that I'm not a homeowner, but being in a home for so long that I felt like I was a homeowner to where I wanted to vote for certain things because that's where my mind was at. And still is.
Right.
And so I think, unfortunately, we not only, that's not part of our community's priorities, but
it's not on the action list
because it's not even visible. There's like,
is it not visible or is it not valuable? And I'm gonna explain why I say that.
I know what you mean by it's not valuable, but I would say it's not a priority, nor is it, am I able to see how these elections can affect my family and well-being. Just because I don't own property, doesn't mean I don't have to care. But because we tend to live in these predicaments where we're not owning anything, and the communities that we live in, we haven't seen ourselves being able to make any change. We don't know that it could be right there in your face.
Yeah.
And you don't see it.
Okay.
You just don't and you don't see the value. But you just can't even.
That's what I was getting at. Like you
got tunnel vision.
You got tunnel vision. You can't see the value in this. It's almost like you ask a little kid, right? You say, hey, do you want a piggy bank that you'll be able to touch in 5 years? Or do you want whatever you want off the ice cream truck right now? They going for the ice cream truck.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that's our problem as a culture, too, is we don't see the value. It doesn't mean the value is not there. We just don't see it as valuable. We see this as valuable over here. Yeah. I'll give you an example. How many judges do you personally know that if you went up to them and said, hey, how are you doing right now? They'd be like, oh, hey, Harold, what's going on? How you been?
How many judges?
How many judges do you know? That know you on a first name basis. Maybe they may not recognize you because you ain't seen you in a few years, but
not anymore. When I was in high school, I had a mentor who was a judge because I was I was part of a business program.
Okay.
And so one of the aspects of that program was having a mentor for your career path. So I had a judge who was my mentor because I wanted to go into law and eventually be a judge. So I would say he probably don't remember my name whatsoever.
Okay.
But that would be the only judge that I could say knew my name.
Okay. I know 2 judges. 2.
That's how you got that other shit. That shit handled. That shit handled that time?
The 3rd judge I never met. Shout out to Uncle Phil. But I personally know two judges, and I hope they forgive me.
We got
for name dropping, because I mean this in a positive way. David Paulsonelli was a guy I went to high school with. We had geography class together.
Oh, okay.
We're friends on certain social media pages, but at the time that I see him as a judge, he was one of the flyest dressed people I knew at the school, right?
Now he got to wear that robe.
He wear that Jedi Knight. You know what I'm saying, to make decisions happen, right?
Got it.
And then there was a sister I went to Piney Woods with, Demetrius Hodges, I think her name is. She's a judge out in Mississippi. Okay. When I say we don't see value, sometimes I feel like in the community, we don't see value in pushing our children to be those things. And in other communities, is as controlling as it sounds, and it almost sounds like a dictatorship in certain aspects, these other communities tell their children, this is what you're going to be. This is what you're going to do. Your brother is going to be this. Your sister is going to be that. And yeah, it might even cause friction and things like that. But they make sure there's things in the family. Now, our counterparts have been doing this for decade after decade after decade, right? To the point where it's damn near family tradition. Somebody, you go to other communities and you see somebody that's a police officer, 9 times out of 10, probably. You know what? I'll even be fair, 7 times out of 10, all right? Their father or their grandfather or their uncle or their big cousin or their brother was probably in law enforcement, part of the law, or who knows, fire department, whatever. Just same thing with medical field. And so we have to shift what we value, is what I think.
Definitely. Also because we super rebellious, and because of the trauma that we experience with the family unit, our family unit and communities, it's difficult for us to think of the idea that although it feels you're being forced to do something, that these families and different groups of people have been doing this since the beginning of time, and we typically are like the only group who really doesn't fall in line with that.
That's why the mob was so powerful. Why I say organized crime, because they had that. They was kind of the opposite. Like, we gonna be the gangsters, but our kids are gonna be this, that, and the other, just in case. Or
they're gonna be the police. They're gonna be the judges. They're gonna be the people.
Some of these groups even infiltrated like FBI, CIA type stuff. So I got a direct line. Hey man, they got some paperwork on you. Y'all need to be quiet over there. And I'm not saying that's what you do it for, people. But the point that I'm making is that they started creating their own protection by okay, we're gonna integrate, because we need access, but we're going to take this access and this information, we're going to bring it back home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like insects, right? When the insect person come and they spray around your house and they put that paste stuff around, they say they're going to take this back to the colony and it's going to take them all out. They did the reverse effect. We're going to get all this information and we're going to bring it back to the village, and I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you, and all of this other stuff. And as much as the Latino community, the Mexicans specifically, have been a topic as far as in what Trump wants to do, that the illegal, one thing I can say about them is that could probably be scary to certain people that are not in line, is they go get what they need to get and they bring it back home so that they all good, or they buy from each other. They have their own thing going on. And so, they're able to thrive with little to nothing and actually get to a point where they have everything that they need.
Yeah.
And, and other people that come over to this country, they do that. Yeah. So the thing is, I think with us is that we're still stuck on the individual mindset, individualism, where it's like, as long as one of us got it, some of us got it. Not really. It's just one of us. You know what I mean? As long as one of us is doing, no, not really. It's just 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
And the only way I think that we could truly get the protection that we want, the wealth that we want, the education that we want, because remember earlier I said I'm solution based. We got to take these same tools. We just like everybody go on tour and we show up to the concerts. That's what needs to happen. But it has to happen. I think it has to happen on an influential level, because that's the only way it seems like we'll listen.
Yeah.
So like Kamala, what she could have did is she could have got Meg and Glorilla and all of them to show a different side of them to get a different market of people in mindset.
Can't have them out coming out and doing the.
You can't say you can't say do what you do best and hope for the best for everybody, because that's not what everybody wants to see. But I was just using her as an example of like, you have to take influential people and not just use them for influence. Yeah. You have to use them for action too.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm with that.
And I think we constantly drop the ball, or we constantly mislead ourselves at times, saying, well, you know, you see what LeBron and them said, right? You see what Wuthi was like, no, action. What's the action?
Like your man, even though his name ain't good no more and he got a lot of smut on his name during that whole vote or die shit, it was action.
Yeah.
It was action more than his music.
Well, to me, it was branding.
I mean, it's
when
still
you
put out these artists.
We all knew what it meant. Like most people from our community, if you said that phrase, they'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that time. But looking back on it now, what should have happened is, okay, now you got the campaign going, right? Okay, well where are you going with the campaign? You going, after you do a show here, you gonna have a separate get together where you speak and talk to the people and talk about policy and talk about where you can go if you have trouble learning about your laws and this, that. You see what I'm saying? There has to be something that you bring to the group, and they take a piece of that pie. They take a piece of that pie of information and they take it back to the village. Yeah. Hey, look, this is what they gave us. And I think that a slice
of this pie, man, we're gonna cut this thing up.
Yeah. And I think that's what we need to unite. But to answer the question that I asked you, I don't think we're united.
No.
I think we're very divided. I think politics just divides us even more. Politics and religion, especially religion. But
I think more politics than anything now. I don't even like religion. I think so many people, especially young people, are so rebelling against the idea of like religion in the traditional sense that's not even too much. I mean, actually, I'm drawing. It is still an argument because you can go on the internet any day on YouTube.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I could pull some stuff up, but this is the crazy part, right? And I think this is what a lot of people are missing in today's climate. You know, when you're talking about politics, when you talk about religion, the two number one things you shouldn't talk about anywhere, apparently. Whether you believe in something, in a Bible, you know, the Lord or nobody, if you're atheist, I don't care what it is the person saying something that is just right or wrong when it comes to just being human. I don't care what you study. If you tell me something about what you believe in and the reason why you live your life this way, and it's aligned with not hurting nobody else, peaceful, respectful, you know what I'm saying? What am I argue with you? I can give you my perspective and say, hey, I wish you seen it my way. Right. But what's the fight about? Usually the fight is about something that has nothing to do with right and wrong. It has something to do with true or false.
Yeah, because I'm not...
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going into it hoping this person changes my mind. I think I'm right.
Right.
So we're not even really having most of the time, not having an intellectual conversation. I'm trying to tell you why I'm right. You trying to tell me why you right and why I'm wrong and why I'm telling you why you're wrong.
I got something controversial I'm gonna say right now too. So fight me on it.
Uh-oh.
I think that if you and your loved ones, which is friends, who you're in a relationship with, family, if you guys are always in agreement, I feel like the relationship is a fugazi. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I have had some form, and it's not about an argument, just even a debate. I've had a disagreement about something with every single person I'm close to.
You think it's fugazi or you think that people are being disingenuous and not really telling their real
they're not opinions? They're not being transparent with that person on what they really think or feel, because maybe it's like, if I tell Poe, that's probably gonna set him off, and then we gonna get in an argument, and then I'm gonna be saying something, they gonna be, so it's just like, so what you think about this? I think it's this for sure. Yeah. I see your point.
Yeah, I don't even know how to have them type. I've never had those type
but there's
of
people,
relationships.
There's people out there, and there was time there was maybe like one or two dynamics I had with some people where we never really had that, but then it got addressed.
I mean, that's how it was.
It got addressed, and so now we could be more, you know what I'm saying, real. And I get it. Some people just don't want confrontation because, like, man, this is a really good person that I'm friends with, even though I disagree. But you're not being transparent on what you stand on. That's how lines are drawn with respect, is being transparent about what you think and what you feel and how you operate.
Sometimes it could be too though that people's like, it ain't even worth it to me to even care.
I believe that too. I believe that. Yeah.
It's like I know you have that opinion, but I don't care.
Yeah. So I mean, and then you have other instances where people are too honest, like that graduation fight.
The graduation fight?
Yeah, I had sent you a clip.
Just recently?
Yeah, man. Well, it was a fight. To me, I seen the clip because Godfrey, the comedian, posted it, right? And basically, it was a clip of a graduation where it looked like the graduates was fighting some people that was there in support for somebody at the graduation, but then whoever they were there to see was about to jump in as well. That's a graduate. It was us though. It was the black party.
That happened downtown when I went to my little cousin's graduation. At the end of it, fight happened right after that.
And that's insane to me, man.
Like, why you?
Was it us?
Yeah, it was us. Why you come to the graduation? You came to graduation to fight somebody? I wanted to graduate. It was like
it's. But see, those are the things that we got to understand. That is not okay. It's not you don't win anything out of that. Yeah,
man. It's just it's a different time we in. This is 2024 now. Like nothing is the same.
You're right about that.
Nothing is the same.
You're right about that. You're right about that.
I'm coming to grips with. We cannot expect the world of yesteryear to be the way in which people operate.
Oh yeah, it will. I mean, they say history repeats itself, but I think it's gonna be a long time before we see those times. Well, you know what? I don't think we'll see those times because there were certain things that weren't invented to preserve that time. And once those things came out, and once we had more access to certain things that we can move through the world differently, there was no need to conduct ourselves.
I mean, there were new things when let's say from the 50s, TV is invented, right? Then you got new things like CD players and there's advancements in different types of technology.
Right. Remember current events in school?
Yeah,
you had to go get it. You had to cut out the article, write about what you read, and then staple it.
Yeah.
And you couldn't
to prove that you have to,
and you couldn't write verbatim what was written there because that's how you learned what plagiarism was, right? So we don't have that no more. We got smartphones now. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's holding no newspaper.
From the 50s up to the time our parents, till we was born, it was some advancements in technology, but we still the system in which people operated was still in place.
Mm-hmm.
That system is no longer in place anymore. So it's like you had to call somebody a certain way. You had to look for directions a certain way or get directions a certain way.
Right.
You had to order food the same way, regardless of whether there's a new food restaurant and the cost for it is different. It's like now it's totally different how you order food. You don't order food the same way whatsoever. Our parents.
You don't have to leave your house for really anything you had to leave your house. You had to leave your house for everything.
You don't have to leave your house for nothing.
You have to leave your house
clothes,
for anything.
Food,
everything.
Home Depot is delivering to the house.
Yep.
You don't have to do any of that anymore. And so that whole system that's why I think it's
so that shifts values, that shifts perspective, that shifts understanding, experience
knowledge,
as well. Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah. And I feel like now people are a lot more dependable on technology than before. Because we used to remember 20 phone numbers. Yeah. Bro, I remember like 2.
I know 2 phone numbers, man. That's my parents, and it ain't changed in years. Right. I got the phone number that people call when they go to jail because it ain't changed in a certain amount of years. But hell yeah, you memorize so many people's number because you have to go and dial it.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to dial it. You tell a nigga, hey, put your number in here.
Now if your phone dead, if your phone dead, be like, hey man, you got J. James' number, dog. My phone died. I gotta call. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different for real.
Definitely a whole way in which we are dependent on technology to navigate throughout the world and communicate. So
yeah,
it'll never go back to the same, bro.
Yeah. Well, and that could be a burden in certain in a lot of ways. But you know what? Speaking of burden, I sent you an interesting sit down, and it was a clip. I did watch the episode, but it was a clip that really stood out to me with Nick Cannon, and I be
Ayanna?
struggling. Yes, I be struggling with this sister's name.
Ayanna.
But apparently that's who she is. Like the way she broke that down. Like, that's what she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought
You've never seen her show?
I've seen her show, but I didn't know that. Like I thought that was like, just her name. And she was like, yeah, because she talked about it. She's like, yeah, now people naming their child that, and it's like, that's what I am. That's not
that's not her actually name.
Yeah.
It's a title.
Yeah, it's a title.
Yeah.
But she sat down with Nick Cannon, and I do like his content on his show. Okay. And she was talking about like the burden of a black man, right? And I mean, we've covered conversations.
One of the greatest kryptonites for a man in general, black men specifically, is the feeling, the belief, the treatment that he is somehow inadequate. And when you devalue a man, when you dehumanize him, when you deheart him, so then where does he go with that?
Right.
He's inadequate, and he doesn't serve a purpose because he can't do what you need him to do to make you feel better about yourself.
What's the purpose? What's the point?
What's the point?
Men in therapy generally, but specifically black men in therapy, first thing we're going to say is we don't have the time for that. Second thing we're going to say is even if we did have time for it, how are we going to figure it out? And then like you said, the last thing is we don't have the money for it.
I think black men are now standing up a little more when it comes to mental health and personal care than the brown men, Latin men, or the red men who are just really silent.
As far as in, us ruining it for Kamala and all of these things. But what did you think about when she was breaking down all of the pillars of what the black man's burden is, and especially let's just start with our community, man, and then work our way out.
I felt what she said because I had similar experience in life. I did throughout her speaking try to be conscious of the fact that black women may feel a certain way if these questions were asked of them. But I also was like trying to be present in why we always got to bring that up. So this is what we're dealing with. Right. I did have a similar experience where it's like you are not really invested in.
Okay.
It's not really about you. You got to come as a complete, finished, finalized package. I don't think people are willing to grow.
So you want to cook right now is what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think people are willing to grow with. I also can say black men are we're stubborn. I mean, men are stubborn.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a man thing depending on what we talking about.
Yeah, men are stubborn, but
your team hasn't won a game and we still good though.
Yeah,
we stubborn, man.
Yeah, it's like you're not willing to grow or inspire or motivate. It's more about, well, you ain't doing this, and now just critique you on what you're not doing or what you need to be doing rather than understanding who you are and helping to guide.
I 100% agree with all of that, and to like dive deeper into like the details. I think that two things are happening at the same time. Actually, maybe even three. There's a part of black men as a collective where a lot of black men are not inspired. It's not that they don't want more, but to put the effort into actually achieving more while being insecure about certain things, lacking confidence in certain things, and never really dealing with trauma, just ignoring it, right? And a lot of these things are happening on the other side with the sisters as well. But since the topic is us, you know what I mean? There's a clear understanding, and I feel like we always, when we talk about the burden of being, a black man, we always talk about we don't really talk about the popular rich celebrities because they have their own burdens as well. Usually the majority of the conversations is the standard, the average black man that works every day, that got a family,
9 to 5er.
Yeah, 9 to 5er. And the celebrity thing, we can go on about that another time. But when you said complete package, I think there's a lie that's happening. So remember I said the 3 things could be happening at once. You got black men that got these issues mentally, what's going on, right? Trauma and all this other stuff. And then you also have what people are telling these black men where they should be, right? And then there's the belief that they should be there or they should have that stuff. But if you unravel all of it, this is what you really have. And that I think people need to understand, specifically our community, specifically our women. When y'all see these other groups, these couples, there's a lot of loyalty there, and there's a lot of humble beginnings, and they fought through it. It's just like grandma and grandpa, right? I've seen so many women say we are not our grandparents, we are not our grandmothers because granddaddy was out having all of these different families and this, that, and the other. I just want to let y'all know, sisters, that those things did happen. But you don't see none of the brothers running around saying, we not our grandfathers, right? And the reason why I say that is because now with Ancestry, people finding out that they daddy really ain't their daddy. Okay? It happens a lot. A whole lot.
Yep. They find out they got other siblings.
They find out they got other siblings, and they finding out that they daddy ain't their daddy. And ladies and gentlemen, specifically to the sisters, that's grandma. That's Big Mama doing that. Now, I'm not going to go back and forth and say whose fault is it? Is it black men's fault? Is it black women's fault? Is it Big Mama's fault? Is it granddaddy's fault? It's not about that. What it's really about is the fact that we have to have an understanding of where we were, where we been, how we got to right here, and what we're doing right now going to do for the future. Because we're at that stage where we have little ones. We got little kids. They looking up to us. You know what I'm saying? They follow us. They're going to imitate everything that we do. And we have to be conscious of that regardless of what we think, what we feel. And when it comes to that burden that we have, we got 3 separate things we're fighting. We're fighting demons that our younger self hasn't able to defeat. You know what I'm saying? We're fighting to have a space or in a position that we know we can be in because of our talent, skill, and intellect. But simply the way we look in certain spaces, we may not get those opportunities like counterparts and things of that nature. So what do we do about that? Do we still fight for those positions, or do we create industries and environments where, it's a little bit more tribal, to where we don't have to worry about that? We just got to worry about the competitive nature. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that I think has to be understood. Like I said, we could go all day long about what the sisters went through, and I don't think us as a collective have a hard time understanding what's hard for the sisters. Yeah, I think it's a hard time. I think we have a hard time acknowledging it and trying to appear masculine and deal with our own demons in the dark by ourselves.
I think it goes both ways.
Yeah. Well, the reason it does go both ways, but I do feel like women are a little bit more comfortable with expressing the things that they have to fight. Yeah. Men, we don't do that, bro. You could be going through hell today, and I'd be like, "How you doing, bro? I'm good." And you not. We do it all the time. We've been close since junior high, and there's been probably numbers of times where I hit you up. What's good with you, man? What's happening? Man, about to cook something. Your car probably blew up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody done hacked your bank account and you had $0. You know what I'm saying? And you just got into it with your woman and your kids is pissing you off. But I'm good. A sister, and women, because it's not just sisters, but women naturally, I gotta take these feelings and they gotta go somewhere. We just take the feelings and we stuff them under the couch or in the closet, you know, under the bed, whatever, and we deal with that later, man. I got to go fix it. I got to get this oil changed. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because
so
talking about it ain't going to solve the problem for us.
Or it amplifies how we've been feeling, and then we and that's where we make a lot of bad decisions and end up in places we don't need to be.
Yeah, because if I talk about it, and especially with your girl, she wants to asking too many questions in a row.
And it sounds like you're being blamed. And sisters don't get and they probably don't even mean it like that, but that's their way of trying to get an understanding. But to us, it's like, man, I feel like I'm sitting in front of Bill Duke in Menace to Society. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know you don't fucked up, right?
Yeah, right.
You know you said you left the store at 12.
You said you left it at this time, and then you over there like I said no, but I backed out of the store. I went back to the store.
And I dropped the bottle when
right now you trying to finish your sentence and you're not even telling the story.
And I ain't even got it figured out to be answering your questions.
A lot of times we don't have the answers to the questions that are being asked of us because we're still trying to sort through. Yeah. And we do this amazing thing as men that I don't think people understand is like we have this priority mindset sometimes. When we're in fight or flight, it's like, okay, all right, we got to shift this around and this got to go here. It's almost like paying bills. Yep. I got 10 days to pay them over here, but I got to pay this one right now.
So I put I put more energy into this thought.
To that one priority.
Leave this over here right now. We don't have time to be thinking about that.
Yeah. And it's such a burden, man. It's such a burden. So hearing her say that, it meant something, but I think it would mean more if we have these conversations
with women.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think with all of the permissionless media we got right now everywhere, because we cover a lot of we cover some ratchet stuff sometimes, but I think the fact that there's so much permissionless media for us to have these conversations, we need to have them because there's plenty of 50-50 conversations. There's plenty of relationship, who's right, who's wrong conversations. And I think those conversations will always be there because you always have certain types of people that have certain walks of life and certain viewpoints. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest, most important conversation that's going to help start that movement on unifying, because you said earlier, what do we have to fight for? Now it's preservation at this point.
The family.
Yeah, we got to fight for the family. You know what I'm saying? And
but then it still feel like that. That's very true, but it's an individual-based fight still. Like, we're fighting for the idea of the black family rather than really the...
You know why? You know why? I'm so glad you said that. You said we're fighting for the idea of the black family, and I'm going to tell you why we're fighting for it, because a lot of us don't even know what that is or what it look like. So maybe the conversation needs to be
all over the place.
Yeah.
We don't have like a collective.
Do you have a definition of what the black family is?
No.
I have one.
No, I can't define the black family because I have too many different.
I'm gonna give you an example of something you already know, but they don't know, or what the black family kind of looks like and what it should look like. Mm-hmm. The black family is a single mom and a son moving to Visalia, right? And that son not really knowing anybody like that, and he's going to a school where it's predominantly another nationality, another ethnicity, and he meets another young brother, right? And they like, man, I've been looking for one of y'all all day, man. Look just like me. Okay, you like Iverson? I like Kobe. And they get to kicking it. But they didn't communicate to the parents that they got somebody that looked like them. So the parents was like, hey, what's going on? Who you? Oh, okay, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, I work with you. Oh, I work with you. Hey, listen, man, I'm going to be going out of town. And I'm going to need to go do this thing. You think you got me? Oh, of course I got you. That's what black family looks like. I'm not saying that that's the only visual example, because most examples you want mom and dad in the house and siblings and all the siblings in the same house, but family goes beyond the household.
Caring for each other.
The
well-being of each other, taking care of each other just for the simple fact that you are connected to my community and family.
Yes.
It's not I'm getting something out of it. It's like I'm looking out for you and taking care of you and doing for you because you are my family. Yeah, you my people. You look like me, and I see you have a hard time right now. Mm-hmm. You're having a hard time right now, and my time ain't as
The time I'm having ain't as hard as yours, so I got some energy to spare. I got some opportunities that I could help you with. And I think that's so important because that eliminates that individualistic mindset in environments where it don't belong. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And I think that if we start defining what things are and actually applying the behaviors and applying the creed that we should live by, I'm not going to say everything will fall into place, but all of the conversations will be easier to conduct and engage with. It's like putting out a whole bunch of, once you put out the big fire, all the little ones ain't that bad.
Yeah, because we have an understanding and a standard for what it is. Now we just throwing shit at the wall and saying this is what it is, this is how it should be, but there's no collective understanding. Yeah,
everybody, you get your water hose, you get your water hose, you get your water hose. We're gonna put out these little fires, and then when we get done, we're gonna come together. And I'll put out the big fire first, and then you'll be able to take out every one of the small ones collectively as well. So I think defining that. And the reason why I went in that direction, I gave that example, is because once you understand what the family is, then you start to understand empathy, sympathy, compassion, right? Agreeing to disagree, disagreeing with respect for one another.
For sure.
Then black men won't feel so burdened. Black women won't feel so burdened. There won't be this standard of you got to make this amount of money or you're not a man, or you got to cook this many meals and clean this many times a week to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? Or you got to have this type of house or this type of car to have success. Because like I said, there's so many things we don't label. We label everything. I mean, we don't define family. We don't define success. And if you ever talk to people, the first thing they say is, in my opinion, no.
It's just your opinion. It's not what in my truth.
Yeah.
It's my
truth. Man, we can't afford that. That's too expensive in a divisive community like ours. Your truth is too expensive for the community. Now, if you got some truths that the police department need to know about, it's not too expensive for them. Go put it on a credit card. You know what I'm saying? But in our community, the individualism is too expensive. It's too expensive. And that's why we're broke right now. that's why we broke, my guy.
I can agree with that.
But yeah, man. I don't know if you got any last comments before we get up. Well, you know what? I got one thing, man. You been listening to the music lately, dog?
You know what I was gonna say? We ain't talked about the music.
Talk to me, man.
The Freddie Gibbs.
Talk to me
album.
and talk to the
Freddie Gibbs album.
Yes.
Fire.
And I love
the concept.
Oh, it was You Only Die Once, right?
Yeah, but with the interludes, with the skits and stuff from the
I like how vulnerable he got vulnerable on us too. He got vulnerable on us, right? Kept it real about some things.
Yeah, that was very dope. West Side Gun dropped the album. I'm still blocked.
Like West Side Gun's album.
He still got me blocked.
What'd you say to him, man?
Bro. What was crazy is he listened to the album in the comments too, though. Look, so I one day I'm just on there, I'm drunk on YouTube scrolling, and then
okay, so I see where this went.
I mean, not on YouTube, on Instagram. So he on Instagram, and he in Paris in front of the iPhone, in Paris wherever, and he's showing off his fit, and I was like, skinny jeans in 2024 is crazy. Next thing I know, he responded. He was like, nigga, I'm a fly. Whatever he was saying, he was like, I'm the fly nigga. Sometimes I'm flyer than you with just my socks on. And I went to go respond, and he had me blocked. I was like,
he blocked you while you typing?
Hell yeah. On the album, he talking about, he was talking his shit at the end of one of the songs on the interlude, talking about, niggas is in Paris. Niggas in Paris. He was like, I'm still fly than you niggas. He was like, you hating ass niggas in the comments, keep them coming. I looked at Jaheim. I said, you heard this nigga? He said, keep the comments coming. I said, how I'm gonna keep the comments coming, nigga? You got me blocked. Yeah. The comments stop when you block me.
Yo, you gotta
He's like, niggas in Paris. I said, Jaheim was dying. I was like, you remember what he did? He was in Paris when he blocked me. He was talking about me.
Oh my God. You know what's crazy? His theme of his album, it's not a bad album. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it was
just cool. Not because I gotta explain to people, just because I may not rock with something don't mean it's bad.
Yeah, no, it was
Me not wearing Gucci don't lower the prices. You understand what I'm saying? But what I was gonna get at is I thought that you would have really liked the concept.
From
the wrestling concept of
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I liked how they introed him and did the West Side intro. Like he's always got that concept going, which I like. The Freddie album is definitely what I've been listening to.
Definitely liked the Freddie album.
It was something. Tyler.
Oh my gosh,
the
Tyler album.
I still haven't listened to it all the way.
I listened to it all the way, and I told my wife. I said, listen, as a professional dancer that you've been, when you've done all of these things in high school and stuff like that, I said you're gonna like the production and the song concepts.
Fire.
So Tyler's album is fire. Dom Kennedy's album is fire too.
He got a new album?
Yes.
What?
Yes. 95.
Oh no, that just dropped a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot I downloaded it. I gotta go listen to it.
It is fire.
I forgot I downloaded it. I gotta go.
And there's another person, Big X the Plug.
I heard.
Bruh.
I heard.
Big X the Plug. I know you got the song where you say where you been and don't ask for no features. Look, bro, I didn't know you like that.
I heard.
I like. Shout out to Big X the Plug. Shout out to Dom Kennedy and shout out to Tyler the Creator, because I've been playing those all week.
The song he was talking to his therapist.
Yes.
Big X the Plug.
Yes.
That one's hard.
Yes. His album is raw though. I can listen all these albums that we're talking about. I can listen from top to bottom without skipping.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's where, and you know what? I had just made a comment not that long ago, about the hip hop and taking L's and stuff like that. I got to recant my statement. I just been out of the loop.
Yeah, hip hop is
it's
not.
I like the work. I like the engineering. I like the production, and I like the music, the lyrics. It's not no laziness. No laziness on the penmanship. No laziness.
Absol.
Okay, I haven't listened to that new Absol.
Different Absol type of.
Okay.
This is like.
Okay. I got you, Absol. I'm gonna check you out.
Like the Kendrick production.
Oh, he doing it like that?
Like that type production, where it's like that LA bounce and he's like spitting, but he's still being Absol.
Okay.
And he got a bounce and he got shit like singles.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Soul
so
Burger.
Soul
Burger.
I'm gonna get with that, man.
And who else?
Yeah, who am I missing that I ain't heard? So I ain't heard the new Absol, so I'm gonna listen to that. So who you got for me? You gotta trade me Pokemon cards, man. Gotta trade me Pokemon cards. You just gonna cut them off the live?
Yeah, man.
I gotta check this out. Y'all get up out of here, man.
Yeah, nothing else that I can really remember. Larry June had something drop.
Larry June.
This chick, this is white chick, bro. Her name is Winnie, WYNNE.
Okay. Rap scene, what?
Rap.
Okay.
Fire.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything new really that I could say.
Well, man, rumor is we might have a mixtape record that we want to drop in the near future. I don't know where I heard it from, but who knows? We might have to drop a mixtape record or some stuff like that, man, because it's been a minute since they heard Dizzy and Poe. I don't know. We'll see if the rumor is true, man. But yeah, I got a couple albums that I need to check out then as well. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it. But other words, we gonna get up on out of here, man. We done had a real convo. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
A much needed convo. But I feel like we might be able to build more conversations off what we talked about, because it's just not enough time to really go and like deep dive into it. Yeah. Well, listen, man, you already know what it is. It's your boy Dizzy D Spill with my co-host in the building. And you've been tuning in to the Notion podcast, Outlawed Opinions. I know some of y'all voted for Trump. I know some of y'all voted for Kamala. Either way, somebody won, somebody lost. But if you're not paying attention, you always lost. You feel me? So let us know what you think. Leave your comments about this past election. Let us know what you think about some of the topics we had about the culture, the community, the tribe, the village. And tune in next episode. All right?
Yes.
We out of here. Peace.